Hollywood's golden age promised the world a dream, glamour, romance, and happily ever after. But behind the scenes, some stars chose a different path, eschewing marriage for independence, craving privacy, or embracing unconventional love. Why did these icons defy the fairy tale ending? Join me as we uncover the real stories behind Hollywood's legends. Greta Garbo, her name conjures mystery. On screen, she embodied passion, but off-screen, she was the architect of her solitude. Garbo's line, "I want to be alone," was a declaration of independence. She built her life around privacy, resisting the studio system's control. For Garbo, marriage meant surrendering her sanctuary to public scrutiny. To Garbo, marriage was a cage. She valued her freedom. After retiring, she vanished into New York, living quietly. Garbo's solitude was her choice. Her legacy isn't just her films, but her commitment to living on her own terms. Garbo's greatest act was her refusal to be possessed. Garbo's myth endures because she insisted on being known only to herself. In Hollywood, that was the ultimate rebellion. If Garbo retreated, Katharine Hepburn charged forward, unapologetic, independent, and utterly herself. Hepburn married once, briefly, and called it a mistake. She refused to let marriage define her. Her career was her anchor. She saw traditional marriage as a threat to her identity and ambition. Then came Spencer Tracy, the great love of her life. For 25 years, they were partners in every sense, but never married. Tracy, bound by his Catholic faith and existing marriage, offered Hepburn a relationship on her terms. Deep, devoted, but unconstrained by law or expectation. Hepburn once said, "Why spoil a good relationship with a bad marriage?" Their love was real, but it thrived outside convention. She cared for Tracy in his final years, proving commitment doesn't require a wedding ring. After his death, Hepburn remained single, her bond with Tracy unmatched. Her life was proof that love and independence aren't mutually exclusive. Hepburn redefined partnership, showing a woman could be both a titan in her field and fulfilled in love, without ever saying "I do." She lived and loved on her own terms. In Hollywood, that was revolutionary. Hepburn's story is a testament to the power of self-definition. She didn't reject love. She reimagined it. Her legacy is a blueprint for anyone who refuses to compromise their sense of self. In the end, she proved that the truest partnerships are those built on mutual respect and freedom. And that's a love story worth telling. James Dean, forever young, forever restless. In just 3 films, he became the icon of rebellion and longing. Marriage seemed foreign to Dean's nature. His life was a whirlwind of art and emotional intensity. He poured everything into his craft, leaving little room for stability or tradition. His romance with Pierangeli was genuine, but outside pressures, and perhaps Dean's own restlessness, kept them apart. Heartbreak only deepened his sense of alienation. Dean's relationships, with both men and women, defied the era's rigid norms. In the 1950s, marriage could have meant hiding his true self. He was a symbol of becoming, not settling, a rebel who questioned every convention. At 24, his life ended abruptly, leaving us to wonder what might have been. Dean never had the chance to grow into a different kind of love or partnership. His legacy isn't domesticity. It's the eternal search, the fire of youth, the refusal to be tamed. For James Dean, marriage was a chapter never written. He remains the embodiment of possibility, not conclusion. His story is a reminder. Some lives burn too bright to be contained. And sometimes the greatest impact comes from what's left unfinished. Cary Grant, Hollywood's ultimate leading man, the picture of charm and sophistication. Yet behind the suave exterior was a man searching for the stability he never had as a child. Grant married 5 times, not out of frivolity, but out of a deep longing for a loving home. Each marriage was a hopeful attempt to find the peace he missed growing up. But reality rarely matched his ideal, and his perfectionism made lasting happiness elusive. Between marriages, Grant found companionship with actor Randolph Scott, a partnership that, whatever its nature, offered rare stability. He was candid about his struggles, even undergoing LSD therapy to confront his inner turmoil. Only late in life, with his 5th wife and the birth of his daughter, did Grant find the contentment he'd sought for decades. His story isn't about rejecting marriage, but about the difficulty of reconciling public image with private pain. Grant was the on-screen ideal, but off-screen he was a man in search of home. His journey shows that even the most glamorous lives are shaped by longing and vulnerability. In the end, Grant's quest for love was as compelling as any role he played. He reminds us that the pursuit of happiness is rarely simple, and that sometimes the search itself is the story. Grant's legacy is not just his films, but his honest, lifelong quest for belonging. He was proof that even icons are human, and that's what made him unforgettable. George Sanders, Hollywood's master of the sophisticated cynic, both on and off screen. Sanders saw romance as fleeting and marriage as a trap, famously quipping, "Marriage is a wonderful institution, but I'm not ready for an institution." He married 4 times, but each union was brief or unconventional. More performance than partnership. His autobiography dismissed grand love affairs as myths, preferring wit and detachment to emotional entanglement. Sanders valued his freedom and intellect above all, viewing long-term commitment as the enemy of stimulation and novelty. Even his later marriages were marked by companionship or confusion, not passion. As he aged, his cynicism deepened, and the boredom he feared became reality. Financial troubles and declining health left him feeling adrift. His famous suicide note, "Dear world, I am leaving because I am bored," was the final word on a life lived by his own bleak philosophy. For Sanders, avoiding commitment wasn't failure, it was a conscious choice to prioritize self over convention. He reminds us that not every life is shaped by romance. Some are defined by the refusal to settle. Sanders' story is a cautionary tale and a declaration of independence. He lived and died by his own code. In Hollywood, that made him an outlier. His legacy is a reminder. Sometimes the sharpest minds are also the most solitary. And sometimes freedom comes at a cost. Sanders chose his own path right to the end. Tallulah Bankhead. Too wild, too witty, too alive for the confines of marriage. Born into Southern aristocracy, she became a legend for her scandalous behavior and refusal to conform. Her motto, "I'm as pure as the driven slush." Bankhead lived openly, loving men and women, and treating her desires as part of her grand performance. Marriage to her was a cage. She feared it would destroy her independence and career. She once considered marrying Count Anthony de Bosdari, but ultimately chose freedom over security. Bankhead's life was a whirlwind of parties, performances, and passions. She thrived on chaos and attention, never pausing for the quiet rhythm of domesticity. Her career gave her the independence marriage could not. She was the master of her own destiny, needing no one to define her. In the end, Bankhead remained gloriously single, her spirit too big for any institution. Her life was a masterpiece of chaos and authenticity. She chose 1,000 fleeting passions over a single commitment. Bankhead's story is a celebration of living loudly, loving freely, and never apologizing for being yourself. In Hollywood, she was a storm that could never be contained. Her legacy is one of fearless individuality, and that's what made her unforgettable. Louise Brooks, icon of the jazz age, flapper, and symbol of the modern woman. Brooks rejected Hollywood's rules and marriage's constraints with equal fervor. She was married twice, briefly, but saw these unions as temporary, not defining. Brooks believed marriage was designed to subjugate women and stifle creativity. She prioritized her freedom, intellect, and art above all else. After leaving Hollywood, she lived in obscurity, refusing to trade her principles for comfort. In her later years, Brooks reinvented herself as a writer, penning incisive essays about her time in film. Her book, Lulu in Hollywood, became her true legacy, a testament to her intellect and independence. Brooks's solitude was a choice, not a punishment. She valued her inner world and refused to play the roles society demanded. Her life was a radical act of self-definition. Brooks showed that a woman's greatest commitment could be to her own mind and truth. She saw through the illusions of glamour and romance, choosing authenticity instead. Her story is a reminder that independence can be its own form of greatness. In a world of conformity, Brooks was defiantly herself, and that's what made her unforgettable. From Garbo's solitude to Bankhead's wild freedom, these Hollywood icons lived on their own terms. Some, like Hepburn and Grant, redefined love. Others, like Sanders and Brooks, questioned the institution itself. They were pioneers, choosing careers, privacy, or unconventional partnerships over society's script. Their stories remind us that the deepest connections are often with our own principles. Which story resonated with you? Let us know in the comments. And if you love Hollywood's hidden histories, subscribe for more. Their legacies endure, not just in film, but in the powerful example of their independence.